Imagine your community has this huge dream project, right? Something that's supposed to define your entire future. But after years of setbacks and opposition, the work just grinds to a halt. The whole dream is just gathering dust. Well, that's exactly where the people of Jerusalem are in 520 BC. And it's into this exact feeling of discouragement that the prophet Zechariah starts to speak. So let's dive into this ancient blueprint for hope.
Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the stalled project that had this community totally paralyzed. Then, the simple but really powerful call that got them moving again. We'll explore the strange and wonderful visions God used to encourage them, unpack the one crucial idea that unlocks the entire story, and finally, see how this all gives us a blueprint for hope that honestly is just as relevant today.
Okay, so let's start with the problem. The people have come home after a long, painful exile in Babylon. But you know what? The homecoming isn't the big, glorious party they were probably hoping for.
The year is 520 BC. We're in Jerusalem, about 70 years after the city was totally destroyed. And that initial thrill of being home? Yeah, that's long gone. They're struggling financially, they're still living under foreign rule, and they have enemies right there in the land actively trying to stop them from making any progress. It is a deeply discouraging time.
And this is the result. For 20 years. Think about that. 2 whole decades, the foundation of the new temple has just been sitting there, abandoned. This was supposed to be the heart of their community, the center of their relationship with God. And instead, it's just this unfinished monument to all their stalled hopes. They desperately need a catalyst for change.
And that catalyst shows up in the form of 2 prophets, Haggai and Zechariah. They arrive with a message from God that is somehow both incredibly simple and profoundly challenging all at once.
Their whole message, really, can be boiled down to one single Hebrew word, shub. It means to turn, to return, to repent. And this isn't just about getting back to a construction project. No, it's about a complete reorientation of their hearts back towards God.
This line right here is the heart of the offer. And notice, it's a two-way street. God isn't just demanding they come back. He's promising that if they take that first step of turning back to Him, He will in turn return to them. He'll restore His presence among them.
Now here's what's so amazing about this moment. Unlike their ancestors who had a bad habit of ignoring prophets, this generation actually listens. They get it. They acknowledge their past failures, they repent, and they get back to work on the temple. And this positive response, it just swings the door wide open for God to encourage them in this truly remarkable way.
So, to keep their spirits high during this tough 5-year rebuilding process, God gives Zechariah a series of 8 symbolic visions in a single night. And each one is like it's tailor-made to address a specific fear that the people were dealing with.
All right, first fear. Are we even worthy to be doing this holy work after everything that's happened? Well, a vision of their high priest, Joshua, answers that directly. He's seen standing before God in these filthy clothes, which represent the nation's sin. But then, God Himself orders those clothes to be taken off and replaced with clean, pure garments. The message couldn't be clearer. God's grace, not their own goodness, would be what made them ready for this task.
Okay, but what about the sheer size of the project? I mean, it must have felt overwhelming. The next vision shows a golden lampstand being fed a constant supply of oil from 2 olive trees. The trees? They represent their leaders, Joshua and Zerubbabel. But the key here is the oil. That's God's Spirit. The vision was saying the project's success wasn't going to come from human strength or power, but from the divine energy that God Himself would provide. And their enemies? The ones who'd been oppressing them for so long? Yeah, multiple visions tackle that fear head-on. God promises to shatter the 4 horns, a symbol for the military power of the nations surrounding them. He even declares that Jerusalem will get so prosperous it'll spill over its own walls, and God Himself will be a protective wall of fire all around it. How's that for reassurance?
But the encouragement wasn't just about outside threats. God also had to address the need for integrity inside the community, and He did it with an image that is just impossible to forget.
Zechariah sees this massive, 30-foot scroll flying over the land. It's like a giant flying billboard, and written on it are all the covenant curses, a very public, very stark reminder of what happens when they disobey. Then he sees a woman, who symbolizes their sin, being sealed up in a basket and carried away to Babylon. These 2 visions together were a powerful message. For this community to be healthy, they had to get serious about removing their own corruption and staying faithful. So, let's recap. The people are back, the temple is being rebuilt, God is with them,
So why isn't everything perfect? Why is it still a struggle? This question brings us to the intellectual key that unlocks not just the book of Zechariah, but frankly, so much of our own experience too.
The people were living between two realities, the now and the not yet. In the now, they were experiencing a very real, but still partial restoration. Yes, they were back in the land, but not all of God's promises had been completely fulfilled. They were still waiting for the not yet, that ultimate, final restoration, with a perfect messianic king and a fully realized kingdom. Understanding this tension is absolutely crucial.
And it's right there, in that gap, that space between the promise and the current reality, that we find our blueprints for hope. It's all about how you live faithfully and with real purpose in that in-between space.
So the bottom line, the ultimate takeaway, comes back to this incredible line from that lampstand vision. For any overwhelming project, for any long journey through the now, the source of our strength isn't our own might, it's not our own power, it's the Spirit of God. That was the hope for them, laying one stone on top of another. And you know what? It's still the hope for us.
Zechariah's message shows us that God meets us right in the middle of our discouragement. He reminds us of what He's promised, and He empowers us for the work right in front of us, even when the finish line still feels a long way off. And it leaves us with a really good question to think about. In the middle of our own unfinished projects and imperfect realities, what not yet promise from God is giving you the hope you need for your now?